My name is Lauri Garcia Jones. I am a fine art photographer. Art came into my life, I guess, at a very young age. My dad is, I guess, has always, I consider him a painter. And I've always looked up to him as far as anything creative goes. But it wasn't until, I guess, later in my life that I kind of started taking it more seriously. That's a hard one. I think I've always had a camera. I've always been interested in being in charge of setting up the shots and whether it's family portraits or creating kind of like stills, playing. I had my sister and my brother, so I would pose them when they were younger for Easter shots and things like that. And I didn't realize it, but going through my old photos, I noticed those were a lot of pictures that I had actually set up, and I was doing then what I kind of do now. So basically it means like a cradle. The body of work, well, first off, Michael Mill had come to me to give me the opportunity to create a body of work. Before the opportunity, I had never really I guess considered making a series or a body of work. And he kind of left it open and said, you can do whatever you want to do, just, bring me a complete body of work. And he kind of mentored me throughout. I would work on it some, get with him for feedback, bring it back, work on it some more, back to him with more images and more feedback. And we kind of had this almost like a mentor kind of relationship while I was kind of producing this body of work. And basically my idea for it was kind of like dealing with the self, and I guess for me, really trying to, I guess, not figure out who I am, but really, it's hard to really put into words, I guess, but really trying to get a different perspective, on who I am, but being a little bit more observant, of myself, more conscious and more self-aware. So most of my work involves some kind of portraiture, not necessarily just self-portraiture. The portraits that I started taking, they were some kind of more narrative portraits in 2011, were mostly of family and friends, hardly any of myself. I think my main point was kind of learning how to work with the body and learning how to work with people. It wasn't until maybe the next year or the year after, I started kind of bringing myself in and kind of adding on to, to the idea of working with the body and how to, I guess just trying to work through the message, whatever message it may be in my work, but trying to kind of figure that out for myself. So I didn't have an assistant. I had there's a timer on my camera. I used that, and then I also used a remote. And it was just me when everyone was out of the house, because I have 3 kids. So when they were gone, whether it was at school or just with friends or their grandma, I found the time that was my time. It was my time. I knew that, it wasn't a punishment thing like go in the box, but it was a time for me it was my explore time kind of. And I guess that's another aspect of it, is that me getting privacy, or me getting the time to do this kind of thing. This is kind of a first for me, going through school. I had kids at a young age, so right now I'm kind of blossoming, as a student, because I dropped out of school early. So I'm really kind of coming into who I really am at a kind of a later. It's still kind of, it's a little blurry. I know that everybody wants for people to, in their art, to be well intended, but in a lot of cases it's not, and I don't want to, you know, chisel something in stone and say this is exactly what it is, but for me, it's it's a learning process for me as well, and I think it's pushing boundaries for me and seeing. It's a new body for me, so it's discovering what I can do in this body and in, you know, within this box or this world or this, you know, this. It's really just ultimately, I guess, it's just learning how to be, I guess, and with what I have in myself. So I guess I'd say like typical like Cindy Sherman. I like Francesca Woodman because of her story, I guess, and because of the things that she had went through, her struggle. There's not a whole lot of photographers, I guess, that I've really been able to delve into and look at their work. But I admire the, you know, when I look at like painters, you know, Kandinsky, and somehow I admire their work and their pursuit and their life struggle, and I think really it's kind of those things that I admire in people and in other artists, because they still find a way to make it through and do what they're going to do, so, and become successful because of it. So I guess I knew that there was a lot of great other artists that were working here, and I also knew the obvious, which was, if you go here, you're not going to be dealing with 1,000 other students, you know. So I think being able to have that one-on-one attention and that one-on-one kind of training with other more established artists and professors, you know, I think that would really, really kind of help me and kind of not only show me different areas of art, but help me kind of try to figure out what it is that I really want to do with my own art. So, you know, just seeing what they're doing, and, you know, how they continue to work, you know, outside of just being a professor, you know, but also showing and exhibiting, you know, that kind of, I don't know, it would seem more like a mentorship to me than it would just a teacher-student relationship, so. I guess philosophy. I mean, it's all been fun, but philosophy, I think, has really is what really mentally engaged me, I guess, and made me think. And maybe anyone could do anything, but I think to be able to tell people how to think in different ways, you know, you have to know how to think in different ways to be able to see in different ways, you know, and to be able to see in different ways, I think helps your photography, helps my photography, and helps me to get others to see differently with my photography, you know, so. Just work, you know, make work, create. And I think even when you don't feel like it, just keep creating. You know, I think it's really important. I think people, you know, will ask, well, why are you doing this, or why are you doing that? And it's important to keep creating, to not get that rust on you, because once you get the rust, it's hard to get it off, you know, and I just think as long as, like I say, a body in motion stays in motion, you know. Well, I mean, the same with an artist, you know. I think if you keep working, you keep producing, you won't have that, if you don't have too much of that downtime or whatever, you know, that you keep that part of you open, that, you know, for creativity to come through, so.